Hello and welcome to another weekly update. Trying to get outside, spend some time outside in the nice weather. Trying to get out of the wind a little bit, so apologies if you get any wind noise. I've kind of gone into the trees to try and get out some of the wind, but it's lovely weather here, a little bit humid, but can't really complain. Plenty of interesting things going on though. So there's a new way to add, so this is for website owners, so there's a new way of adding a share to Teams button to your site. So if you do a blog or a website or anything like that, you can now add a button similar to kind of the share on Facebook, share on Twitter, all those other things. You can now share directly to Microsoft Teams. So this is a capability that the Teams team have made available. It's all published, put up by Microsoft. It's some JavaScript and some HTML you can drop straight into your site. It's really nice. It pops up a little window. You can then choose like the team you want to share it into, add a little comment, and whatever. So I did a blog post about that, and I covered a few different ways of working with it. You can either take it exactly as it is, but also I've broken it down a little bit into ways that you can kind of take out the core capabilities. And if you're building it into an existing CMS or an existing blog site template, it might be better to do that than just to take the kind of stock JavaScript and HTML and drop it in. Interestingly, I did that first blog post at the start of the week, and at the time I said, you know, with a bit of time, with a bit of effort, you could actually like roll this nicely into a WordPress plugin, because I use WordPress in my blogs. WordPress is very popular. Lots of people use WordPress. And as I did it initially in my blog, it was a little bit clunky. I was using Jetpack. It wasn't perfect, had some limitations. Anyway, turns out somebody has done that. So I got pinged by another MVP over in the SharePoint space, who has actually written a WordPress plugin to do this share to Teams button. So I did a blog post earlier today with all the details about that. It's really easy to use. It's a great little plugin. It just works. You can add it into your site. It's got a very low footprint. What it does, it puts a little Teams overlay on the left-hand side of every page, every blog post page. When your users click that, it nicely opens the share to Teams button, window, exactly as you'd expect. So really nice plugin. I'm really glad that someone has taken the time and effort to do that. It annoys me it wasn't me. I just didn't have the time, but it's great to see that this has happened. So put a link to that blog post as well. If you have any WordPress sites, I massively encourage you to that, especially if it's anything to do with Teams. Massively encourage you to go and add that plugin. It's really cool. Okay. Other thing I did this week was a little video because I had some feedback about the Azure Web App Bot. So I use the Azure Web App Bot quite a lot in referencing bots in Teams, because I know that Teams platform development is not just about bots. There's plenty of other different things you can do, but bots are an important part of that platform development story on Teams. Everybody wants to build a bot. They're kind of quite a kind of key capability. And so when doing demos and when doing talks, I often use the Azure Web App Bot as a really good starting place, because you can talk it through, you can show people it working in Azure, and then you can download the code and make local changes. And I always kind of say, yeah, you can download the code and it will run locally. And I never cover that in the talks. And the main reason I don't cover it in the talks is it just takes time. It takes time to download the source code, unzip it, open it in Visual Studio, and that's not the best use of someone's time if they're here to watch a presentation. So I never really cover it, but I've had some questions about actually, there were some problems with getting that working. So people were getting stuck at that stage of downloading the Azure Web App code and getting it running. Also, people were coming at it from a slightly different direction, going and starting with the samples first rather than creating in Azure, hitting similar problems. So I thought what I'll do is I'll do a quick video just of me doing that process. So yeah, there is a bit of unzipping, there is a bit of opening and closing, but if you're getting blocked on that process of downloading the samples, taking the sample code for a web app bot, or going from an Azure Web App Bot instance on your Azure tenant, downloading the source code and getting it running locally, this might be a good video for you. So that's it's only a 15-minute video, and that's all it covers. It covers from I've downloaded the bot source code to I need it running locally. Doesn't cover using the bot framework emulator. I have a separate video for covering that, so I didn't want to kind of overlap it too much. So that might be useful to you as well. All right, finally, one more thing I want to tell you about is a blog post that I didn't put out, a blog post that's done by my company. Why am I telling you about that? Well, it's all about software development, and it's all about agile working, and it's all about why that is really important. So the blog post has been written by Rob Taylor. So Rob is our software dev lead, and he goes into some detail about how we work at Modality, how we do software development, why agile working is really important for us. And the bigger kind of piece around this is that Modality is sponsoring an award. We sponsored this, I think we did this for the second or first time last year, I can't remember. So this is either the third or the second time, I can't remember which, that we're sponsoring this award for the Develop Her Awards, which is a local in the region in which I live. It's an awards ceremony, an awards process celebrating females in technology. So we're very proud to sponsor this award. Specifically, we sponsor what's called the Agile Angel Award because we think agile working is really important, and it's made a massive difference in our software development practice. So we wanted to do that. But anyway, go and read that blog post. It gives a really interesting insight into how we do software development at Modality and why we think agile working is important. All right, that's everything for me for this weekend. I am going to go and enjoy the weekend. I encourage you to do the same. Try and get outside, try and get amongst some trees like this, it's lovely, and have a great one, and I will speak to you again next week.